Good evening, councillors and officers and members of the public in our gallery this evening. Welcome to this planning meeting on this day, Tuesday, the 2nd of August. Before I start with the first item on the agenda, I will actually read out the fire evacuation procedure. In the event that the fire alarm sounds during the course of this meeting, please leave the building immediately by the nearest available exit. Escape routes are indicated by arrows on the green signs. Do not use the lift because it won't take you anywhere. If anyone present has difficulty in negotiating the stairs, please make yourself known and we will discuss the most appropriate evacuation procedure with you. When clear of the building, proceed to the assembly points on the marketplace. Do not re-enter the building to get any bags or possessions until told to do so by the person in charge. Okay, thank you very much. Let's get started then with the first item on the agenda, which is apologies for absence. Do we have any? No. Thank you. Item number 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any? No, I see none. So let's go to item 3, which is to approve the planning minutes, which was held on the 31st of May. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Plant. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. So it's 31st of May on this one.
It's not that day. The minutes on.
Which one would it be?
What did we want?
Which one's on the agenda? It's the 12th of July that's on the agenda.
12th of July.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's just quickly do that again. May I have a seconder? Councillor Plant. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Item 4, which is public participation. I see a couple of members of the public in the audience this evening. Would you like to say anything this evening, or are you just here to?
I'm very happy to say something on the subject of 21 speed limit, and perhaps leaving to a lane person.
Of course, yeah. Do you want to stand, or are you happy sitting?
Do you want me to say it later on?
No, now, please. Yeah, during public participation. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Back in January, I organised with helping colleagues in St Mark's Road a petition to appeal to Oxford County Council that we should have a 20-mile speed limit. We had 94% of all of the residents on the road agree with it. We had about 2% that didn't agree with it, or at least asked that it should be stated that they wouldn't support the speed humps, and another 4% of which we were unable to contact. They're away or perhaps just didn't answer the road to the door. We had comments back from people that they had had near collisions. They had cats die on the road, and they're also concerned about school children travelling up and down the road. We're also linked with St Andrews Road and had discussions with Councillor Gavazak across both roads and discussed items like not just 20-mile speed limit, but what we should do about something as community speed watch, for which I've already got community group, and also things like pinch points, but not speed humps. The participation was very, very supportive of it, and we're pleased to see what Councillor Gavazak has actually achieved in terms of going through the Transport Strategy Group. I think it's important to say that it's not just safety of pedestrians and animals, but also from my climate emergency work, it's also relevant in terms of the context of reducing emissions. So the record is that there's about 23% reduced emissions if you reduce the speed from 30 to 20 miles per hour. And there's also about an 8% reduction in pollution. So it's both safety, emissions, and also pollution. What is relevant, you may have seen the letter that we wrote in a recent Henley Standard, supporting what the Transport Structure Group was proposing, but actually saying that one of the problems was that the monitoring was inadequate. And the reason it was inadequate was because it was within 100 yards of the junction with Vicarage Road, in our perspective, into St Mark's Road. What happens is that some vehicles can get above 100, can get above 100 miles an hour, but again, about 30 miles per hour within 100 meters. But when you get to the top of the road, the speed exceeds dramatically above the speed limit. And the reason why is because there are more cars parked on driveways, and therefore the width of the road is wider. And you do see cars going at a rate, which is not what the monitoring showed. So the monitoring, if it was repeated, could be moved forward. But actually, in thinking where we've got so far, I don't think that's necessary. I think that's important. But I think what we need is both speed limit and signage, and also things like ideally pinch points, plus what is described as traffic calming measures, plus also community speed watch. We need the cameras.
Thank you.
So,
Any questions? Any questions from councillors? Councillor Gavishak, did you want to speak to this, or will you speak to it later?
I'll speak to it later.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Right,
Sorry, thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
Mr. Lockett, would you like to speak? Okay. Okay, let's move on then to the next item on the agenda, which is 5 plans amended. Please turn to page 9. Now, when I first looked at this, am I right in saying that it's been approved? Yeah. Yeah, so P22 S1652 household application for 30 Gravitt Close has already been given permission. Normally, what happens is when we say nay, the planning officers have got a lot better than they used to be. Well, they never used to do this. Actually, they would be in contact with us via Jodie and or Kath and say, here's my decision and these are the reasons why. And they give us the option to take it further. But there was nothing on this one. I don't know if there's any reason behind that. Do you know of any? Yeah, do either of you tempted to just go back to them and say, you didn't on this occasion warn us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go on to item agenda 6 then, which is on page 11, and this is plans new. Okay, so you commenting on all of them today? Yeah, okay. So the first item is P22 S2245, and it's a householder application for 14 Groves Road. Jodie.
I haven't got a comment on that one.
Does that mean that you've got no observations or
No.
no comment? Oh, right, okay, yes. Councillor Hillier.
I'm just querying the web comments from the neighbour who said that the garage has already started being built and it's encroaching on his property. And the garage is also increased in hand and reducing the light to his property. So maybe we should be looking into that.
Yeah, okay, that's the thought.
I was going to go no objections, but I guess if they've broken any of the planning rules, that'd be enforcement.
Yeah, what would you advise on this one when it's already commenced? Because this is retrospective and it doesn't say retrospective on the application.
Yeah, say that in the comments.
Councillor
Yeah.
Earle, would you like to speak to this?
Well, I would just say, we were disturbed to learn that, the application's been started. So in theory, it should be a retrospective application now.
Hmm,
I think that's all you can do.
okay, did we want to put any observations in, or do you just want to make this statement? Councillor Hillier?
I think we should query the height of the garage if it differs from the plans as well.
Mm.
We should mention that in comment.
Is the garage definitely part of this application?
It was just for the simple story.
Yeah, it just says single story rear extension and alterations. So they might be doing the garage without the need for planning permission anyway. They didn't show it on the plans, so.
So they might have altered the whole application and that.
Yeah, there might not be permission for the garage.
Hmm,
I think it might be a separate issue.
But they
You
should-
can raise it in the comments if you wish, but.
yeah,
Mm.
okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's comment on the actual application, but actually raise it for SODC, because the resident should always check, that they are actually in line with planning, at least, and perhaps apply for lawful development. Because, it clearly has affected the neighbours in this instance. So, councillor Plant, are you?
No, yeah, I was thinking it was straightforward. I think the garage is a separate issue.
Yeah.
On bridge and everything in it.
Okay, let's put a proposal together. Can I hear your comments on the actual planning application then, please? Any proposals?
Yeah, accept.
Okay, is that seconded? Councillor Gavin, would any other councillor like to speak? No, okay, all those in favour for approval, subject to comments about the garage? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, the next one is P22 S2332. It's a householder application. It's for High Lees, Rotherfield Road. Jodie.
The forestry officer has a holding objection and they're recommending that an agricultural impact assessment is undertaken.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
I was going to do approval subject to the novel.
Okay, seconded. Thank you. Would any, that's councillor Gavin, seconding. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. It's approved. Subject to forestry officer. Okay, the next one is P22 S2342. It's a householder application and it's for Old Ship House, Wharf Lane. Jodie.
Just the only comment is the conditions requested by the archaeological officer.
Okay. Yes, councillor Gavin.
I propose acceptance subject to the archaeologist, whoever he is, and the conservation officer. So approval subject to.
To those two officers.
I don't think they've been consulted, the conservation officer.
Sorry?
I don't think the conservation officer has been consulted.
Well, I'd like to lob it in because if whoever is commenting on the archaeology, then there is a conservation issue anyway. So, yes.
Yes, councillor Hillier.
Yeah.
And then councillor Crowe, and then Plant.
Brixby and Mules had raised concerns about the proximity to the boundary being within the 2 meters, and they were concerned about maintenance issues. So it might be worth noting that they look into that, that there is sufficient room for maintenance.
Yeah, councillor Crowe.
And regarding those comments as well, there's concern about a fire risk, because it should be right up against the wall almost. So that's the concern. Maybe they could make it a bit.
Yeah, councillor Plant.
That's fine. I was just going to say, I think those bits will be covered by building regs.
Yeah, they need to be,
Okay, all right then. So would any other councillor like to speak with this to the vote? Okay, so we have a proposal for acceptance subject to the conservation officer, the archaeology officer, and that they please pay special attention to the proximity to the boundary. Okay, all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And the next one is P22 S2394. It's a householder application for 124 St Andrews Road. Jodie.
Yeah, so this is quite a large family extension. Gables used Scott with a poor relationship to the post building. There's a large level of glazing and a balcony, but it's not in a conservation area or a listed building. Thank you.
Councillor Gavashak.
I had a good look at this. I'm going to propose acceptance of this, and the reason is that it's a large cost. It's also on a curve on the road. When the extension is built out in front, it will be behind the building line of the neighbouring property. So we've got the neighbouring property here, and then the new extension is here. The curve goes that way, so therefore the only people that will be looking out of this extension is just down the road. That's all. It's not looking in other properties. So and oh, sorry, no, that's another one. Sorry. So therefore, I propose acceptance. Thank you.
Okay, so seconded. Councillor Plant, Councillor Hilary, would you like to speak to this
Yeah,
or would you second? Okay. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes.
Yeah, the only thing I would say from where I'm sitting, the curve goes that way.
It depends where you're saying.
You're above the load,
I think he's going around the bend.
Yes.
God, I was thinking, feeling about this meeting already.
No, remove that, please.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, I agree with you, councillor Gavashak, they've actually had pre-application advice and they've actually followed it, which is always a good thing. Okay, well, let's put this to the vote then, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. Oh, sorry, Against.
It's just two.
against, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
that's fine, it's carried. Okay, next is P22 S2437. It's a householder application. It's 39 Gravel Hill. Jodie.
Yeah, we've received pre-application advice, states that it would be acceptable in relation to design and impact on residents.
It's not a listed building, is it?
No.
No. Sorry, yes, councillor Plant. Seconded. Councillor
I will
Gavashak.
second it, subject to the pre-app advice on to do with the balcony, that there was a blocking partition, that was for. You can add that, thanks, Miles. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay, so councillor Plant accepts the amendments. Would any other councillor like to speak? No, okay, all those in favour of approval subject to conservation officer. Okay, thank you, that's approved.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was conservation of the advice from the conservation, even the pre-app advice.
It's not.
No,
It's just.
Oh, just pre-app.
Pre-app advice,
Okay.
there is,
Do you need, do you think we need to go again, or are you happy? You happy? You
I-
happy?
I think you captured it.
Yeah, okay, fine, we don't need to vote again then, thanks. Okay, next one, P22 S2492, it's a household application, it's 122 Reading Road, Jodie.
It's in the conservation area, so pitched roof would be preferred.
Yes, councillor Arlott.
Yeah, I'm going to propose refusal for this one. Basically on the pitch roof, but it was proposed adds nothing to the character of that road. It just stands out like a sore thumb if you were to something to box stuff on the back of the roof. So yeah, if an application comes back with a pitch roof on the dormer, I may well consider it, but I'd say it adds nothing to the character of the area.
Okay, thanks, yes, councillor, you seconding?
I'll second, I'll just make one more comment, I mean, this dormer that they are, sorry, from there, it is almost 2/3 of the back of the road. So therefore, it's a big dormer, so I agree with councillor Arnold's comment.
Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, so we have a motion for refusal. It's been seconded. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, the next one is P22 S2524, and it's listed building application for Henley on Thames Town Hall, so we will not be making any observations.
Can't even propose
I should always just move swiftly on so that we don't have to change one of the, shouldn't I?
Freedom of
Thank
speech.
you. Yeah. Okay, the next one is P22 S2526, and it's a householder application. And it's a 41 St Mark's Road. Jodie,
No comment.
thank you. Councillor Plant. Recommended. Seconded by Councillor Devonshire, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. And the next one is P22 S2545, and it's a full application for land at Newtown Road. Jodie.
Yeah, so they received pre-application, advice, SNDC has said that the principle would be acceptable, but they're concerned with the accessibility of residential development of the site in terms of the layout and the form, and in terms of its visual dominance and loss of residential unity to the gardens of the nearby residential occupiers. Also note that the description wrong, it should say 1 times 4 beds, and SODC have corrected that.
Hold on. Sorry, did you have a question for Jodie?
Have they come back on that pre-application advice? Like, is the picture that they attached as part of the amended plans after the floor?
It's after that, I don't think it's addressed those concerns.
Councillor Devonshire.
Yeah, it's just one question. There was a concern from somewhere, I think it's the Henley Society, but it was somewhere in the script, there was a planning commission for a 4-bedroom house.
We just covered that.
Fine, okay, sorry, I apologise.
Right, okay, councillor Hillier.
There was that bit about the contaminated land as well. The letter that is possibly contaminated, so just assurance that they are going to look at that. They'd have to.
Right, would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Plant, did you want to speak?
Yeah, I didn't actually have the planning application in principle. I think it looks good. It's the size of type of property. It's useful, obviously, for any residents right now. I don't think that has any sort of money that some properties around.
Well, hold on, please don't interrupt, you can speak, but put your hand up, councillor Crook, and I'll come to you. Yes, did you want to speak?
Yes, please.
Yes, councillor Romans.
I mean, when I think of Newtown Road, I'm thinking, is this a potential loss of commercial or industrial space? I mean, Newtown Road to me is Newtown Industrial Estate, and I just don't think that's the right location to put dwellings on so many different levels. I really do not. And I really think we should be trying to protect commercial or industrial land, however we want to term it, future use. Of that nature.
Councillor Devonshire.
Well, I'm going to speak against this one. And the reason is that it's eating into the Newtown industrial estate. I know Anderson House has sort of set an idiot precedent. But this is it seems as though SODC has given them free up advice and then said, yeah, but there are loads of reasons why you shouldn't do it. I mean, that's lots of amenity space, residential amenity, etc., etc., etc. So therefore, I will be voting against the approval of this. We'll just see how it goes. Thank you.
Councillor Crook.
Also, because it's like lots of parking space, those road cottages don't all have parking at the side of it, that's driving in. So they will end up probably parking on the road, which is dangerous to pedestrians. And we've already had someone knocked down in that particular area.
Yeah, we have.
So it's a real hazard. I just don't think they can build.
Yes, councillor Arlett.
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, they did win this on appeal. I believe, I might be wrong, but I think it was,
My interest in DC four.
I think it was just for two houses. As I say, we've got three dwellings, but it's four. And it looks to me as they may want to purchase someone's back garden to make them bigger, but all that, sorry, did you ever get a second for approval?
No, I was saying, I was actually interested in DC for that one, and the residents from Mary Kay, instantly.
So don't get a second, I propose a refusal on this. Mainly, again, it's an awful design. I know opposite, there's some blocks of flats opposite, but it's backing onto some old terrace houses with pitched roofs. And the design, there again, we come back to character again. It's totally out of character with that area around it. And I think just with that alone, but it's massively overdevelopment. You know, it looks like, well, it is. It's a kind of a three-story box on a box. It's got nothing going for it whatsoever, and they're just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. And I know we need houses, and obviously, hopefully, we'll get them soon. But this is just not the right area for it. It really is poor. It's a poor application. This, and it's just too crammed in. It's just totally overdeveloped, or proposing to be overdeveloped. So it's not for me.
Is that seconded? Yes, that's seconded. Did you make the proposal?
Sorry, no, we're still
You're
on the
making
proposal.
comments.
No, it's
No, it wasn't seconded.
Oh, wasn't it?
So councillor Arlett's made the proposal.
I didn't realise that had been concluded. Right, fine. So that's proposed.
That's a proposal, yeah. It's been seconded.
Um,
Would any other councillor know?
yes, I'll just chip in this. I think Councillor Hines already covered it. It's only another one. They're just trying to squeeze as much as they can out of the site. If they've got permission for 2 beds, we don't mind it, but they're on board. But it just seems as though the pre-app advice has been totally and utterly ignored. So that is the reason why SODC, I'll say it again, SODC should refuse it.
Yeah.
I think the previous approval was for a 4-bed, much more modern property. Was the one in principle.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't remember. Do you remember it, Jodie? I just don't remember it. Was it several years ago?
It's the
Wasn't
last
it?
house.
Probably about a year or so ago.
About 3, my first year, was it 4 years ago?
I'm normally all over Newtown Road, but not on this occasion. Okay.
So how long was it going to be next? Lost it.
So does that include the principal in the appointment letter or not?
We lost on that last time.
You lost on the principle of employment.
This plot has
The reason
planning for a
includes
very modern
The loss
4-bed house.
of employment or not?
Does the reason, so did you hear that? Jodie's asking if we are, Councillor Arlett, you've made your proposal.
We won't win that because the principle has already been laid out for
Yeah.
houses on the site.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we can't take that.
Yeah.
And we tried lots of parking last time, and someone said on Google Maps, I can't see anyone parking.
That's because they've had it fenced off for so long.
No, it was not.
Okay, all right, okay, so we've got a proposal for refusal. It's been seconded. All those in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Okay. Agenda item 7, please, is potential call-ins.
Hill Schoolhouse,
Oh, I've missed one.
listed building.
Oh, beg your pardon. P22 S2578, and it's a listed building application for the old schoolhouse, Laureate Gardens. Jodie,
Yeah, just subject to the conservation officer.
Councillor Plant.
Exactly that.
Well, thank you. Seconded. Councillor Romans, thank you. Would any of the council like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval, subject to the conservation officer. Thank you, that's approved. Okay, we have item 7 is the potential call-in applications. Yes, councillor
I
Romans?
think Newtown Road is a worthy recipient.
I agree. Do we all agree? Should we all take a vote on it? I'm seconding. Would you like to vote? All those in favour? Okay, that's a call in. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is agenda item 8, and it's a list of decision notices. Like to note those. Any comments, observations? No? Okay. Right, so we come to agenda item 9 on page 15, which is the councillor report, Councillor Gareth Shack on the proposal for 20 mile an hour limits throughout Henry. Would you like to speak to this now?
Yes, please. I'd like to propose on page 16. Down on the resolution that this council applies to OCC for town-wide 20 mile an hour zone. Which seconded, I will speak.
Second.
Yeah, thank you, councillor Barnett, second.
Very briefly, this has been through Transport Strategy Group. And it was a review of the group, but having a piecemeal 20 mile an hour zone for bits of the town isn't going to work. So therefore, the best option is to do it for the whole of the town. If you look at the data that Tony referred to on page 17 and 18, if I click on the St Mark's Road bit, if you look towards Green Lane, and Tony said the machine was possibly in the wrong place, we are getting speeds of 28 miles an hour. Now it is a 30, so it's perfectly reasonable to do that, but 28 miles an hour in a predominantly residential road is too fast. And if you look at all of the other figures, the Hobson Road is sitting 25, St Mark's 28, St Mark's down the bottom 27, Reading Road, Kings Road, and over the page, I'll just speak on St Andrews Road. Again, we're getting speeds towards the Western Road of Bellevue 27 again. So there is an overwhelming case for a 20 mile an hour zone in residential areas, and it is just easier to extend it to the whole of the the whole of the town. One thing I will correct, it's only subject to new information, page 16. Number 3, barriers to success. 3.1, police will not actively police a 20 mile an hour zone. Now this has changed. And the reason why it's changed is because so many villages and towns are applying for 20 mile an hour zones that in fact, Thames Valley Police have a change of heart. And in fact, Matthew Barber, who is the commissioner of the police, has a change of heart and says, well, look, if it's the law that it's 20 mile an hour zone, we will police it. So therefore, they are going to put resources. Into it. There are very good reasons, as I said in the preamble, Hobson Road, Reading Road, St Mark's Road, St Andrews Road, Gravel Hill, Valley Road, Deanfield Road, Vicarage Road, and Grace Road. I've had residents from all of those roads approach me about having a 20 mile an hour zone for them. I do say, and this is my final comment, and then I'll take questions if anyone wants to know, which was this, that I will be bringing forward the traffic calming measures in a separate document going forward, because I do believe someone will be needed. I mean, I'll give you an example. At the top of St Andrews Road, Colden Harbour closed. The figures are coming in at 27, 29, Colden Harbour closed, because it's a wide road and it's a flat road and people have a target. So therefore there will have to be some additional traffic calming for it. The process is this, that we apply. It does not mean it goes through, it just means that OCC fund the whole of it, and it goes through the consultation process as per normal. But in fact, it's OCC picking up the bill. So there will be, if we are successful in our application, which we will be. Oh, by the way, because we are a major town, OCC will fast track us. as well. That's when it goes through the system, then OCC will put it out to full consultation for it. So therefore, I propose that we apply, the Henley Town Council applies to OCC for a town-wide 20 mile an hour, so please, thank you.
Okay, yes, councillor Arlett's the seconder, so if you speak first, then I'll come to you, councillor Hillier, and then Plant.
Can we add 4.2 into the resolution just to make sure that it doesn't get lost?
Yes,
You happy with that?
can I have it as a separate sentence? So that when, it will still, both sentences will go to OCC.
Yeah.
It will be the first one that they will act on,
That's fine.
so yes,
Okay,
fine,
that's
yes.
good.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's to include traffic calming.
Oh, okay.
Okay, councillor Hillier.
Yeah, I just think the survey, I presume that was done during daytime hours. Because these seem pretty good, slow speeds to me on the survey that was carried out.
No, it was, sorry, may I?
Yeah.
It was a 7-day, 24-hour, and these are the averages. that come
Because,
out of it.
I see, because I know on the Reading Road, you're talking of 70 miles and plus per hour. I mean, it's like takeoff on the Reading Road from early evening through late in the night and early hours of the morning. And of course, it's not police. And the 120 mile per hour sign we've got by the Italian restaurant, it's very hard for people to see. So I'm just wondering what they will put in place to make it more obvious when they make it 20 mile per hour.
Speed camera.
Yeah.
Councillor, I think it was councillor Plant first, and then councillor Crook.
Oh,
Was it?
actually,
Councillor Crook.
The King's Road, traffic, if you're trying to cross that zebra crossing, they have to really put their brakes on, they're going too fast. They are just going too fast on that set of road. Like,
that's one we investigated.
Just out of curiosity, do we think the people who are speeding are Henley residents, or are they out of town passing
Mixture.
through?
mixture, and in the
Mixture.
evenings, it's younger people, not discriminating, it's the younger, sorry, it could be speed demons,
Still
Sorry,
have
not
noise
really.
the exhaust.
yeah,
Oh,
Always need electric, I was thinking,
with the showing off with their mates.
Yeah.
councillor Plant.
no, I think this is great. I think part of the conclusion of it so far has been the continuing approach 20s in some areas and 30s months. I think once the whole town is uniformly 20, from any point that you drive into it, every street residential main will be 20. It's great that the police will actually now actively enforce this, because it's been one of the points that we've discussed right from the start, that without enforcement, potentially it's not worth doing, whether it was council or point, but I think this is great and perfect.
Councillor Rowlands.
I totally agree with it. I mean, my concern with Carrick Dash with Grace Road is how to make it, you might, I think you might need to be a bit creative with this. I mean, if you look at what Grace Road is like, where people park their cars and where you tend to accelerate when you're driving up and down. So I think, let's say, 20 miles an hour between where Green Lane is and the bottom of Grace Road would probably work for 20 mile an hour zone. But at the top where you have the junction of Green Lane going up to where the shops are, that is where people will put their foot down and accelerate. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm not, someone who goes around breaking the speed limit. But this is it. I mean, you're instinctively, when you drive up Grace Road, when you get to the bit where it levels out, you do put your foot down. Drivers will have a natural instinct to do that. Sort of speed. Second, no, I don't do that. Kids cross up there. I don't drive around during school time. But I'm thinking, but we're being serious. I mean, could we do a variation of schemes? So enforce the 20 miles an hour. And maybe a bit where levels that have more, different traffic calming.
But that's the point that councillor Plant just made. It's confusing when we have two different speed limits on one road.
Just drive more sensibly.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because, I read that Whitney has done this now. They've really, excuse the pun, accelerated their application to get 20 miles an hour.
So it always helps
Is that?
if you have the cabinet portfolio holder as one of your councillors.
Yeah, yeah, oh, is that right? Scandalous. Really?
It was all, no, they got off the mark very quickly.
Yeah.
So no, it's all above board.
But when you say we'll be fast tracks, how long will it take from you putting in the request to the consultation to the actual implementation?
The answer is I don't know, but I will find out. But I had a meeting 2 weeks ago and I said, well, it's likely, I didn't prejudge, it's likely that Henry will apply. Are you saying that it's going to take 2 years to actually implement this? And they said, no. Henley is a major town and therefore if it's deemed that it's needed, it will happen very, very quickly. So I would say between 3 and 6 months.
Yeah.
So I would hope they would design it in 3 months and then they would have a consultation for a month and then.
Has anyone who walks around like me, you do, don't you, Councillor Crook? Have you noticed people taking any notice of the highway code, the new highway code?
Oh, what they meant to stop?
Mm,
No,
no, I haven't either. You walk around a lot, don't you?
Try and kill them.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
You actually
like,
have priority now cross. We actually always did have it, and maybe turning off. You should always check if
No.
someone's crossing in there. And that I mean, just.
I mean, I always sort of try and catch their eye and it's like, have you seen me or not? You know, and I'm like, I'm not going to risk this,
Well,
just
running
stepping
away
out in
from
front
the
of them. you know. They just choose not to see you, I think, you know, they just choose not to see you. They are in their car and they are king. Yeah.
We're banned cars next.
Yeah.
I mean, Reading Road's the biggest issue, I think, for something like that. And the other thing as well, I mean, if you're going up St Andrews Road where you've got the give way signs, you do find people there being a bit cheeky on occasions, but I don't think we can do anything else to enforce.
Mm.
Oh.
But those at Cromwell Road, doesn't it?
I spent a lot of time fixing this. Anyway, let's put this to bed.
Right, well, thank you for all of your work, Councillor Gavishak. It's really good. And to all of the residents groups who have put time and effort into this as well. St Mark's Road, St Andrews Road, and some of the others as well. Okay, so let's put this to vote then. All those in favour? Thank you, that's
Could
unanimous.
we note in the minutes that we do now?
Unanimous,
Thank you.
yeah, let's do that.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Kath, another job for you.
If it's something common, might go for it as well.
Oh, Nick did. Yeah.
Okay, so agenda item 10, please, on page 19. We've got progress report for applications called in. Have we got any updates on this at all?
No.
No. The only update that I've got is that Councillor Gavishak and I are going to approach Henley Manor Care Home to warn them that we're going to do a press release about them complying with the Oxfordshire County Council order to restore the access, footway access between Newtown Road and Mill Lane. It's now at the stage where it's going to Oxfordshire County Council have had to push it back to the planning inspectorate for public inquiry. Yes, Councillor Flance.
I'd still just do it. I was just asking them to just comment in the article. Just say that you're going to release it.
Yeah, that's a
It's
possibility.
factual and correct. They have been through time.
I mean, if Hallmark, I mean, Oxfordshire County Council have had so many mixed messages from Hallmark. 1 minute it sounds like it's on, and then it all goes quiet again, and then they try again, and then they go, oh, no, we want the public inquiry. And it's just like, right, enough is enough. Let's just do it, you know. So that's what we do. I've got a contact at Hallmark, and I'll send it an email tomorrow morning.
Well, they caused it, so we should do some maximum bad publicity for them. Because it's really, they should be at the heart of Henley's community. And to actually deliberately, because they knew when the planning commission happened, they knew there was a footpath there, but to deliberately put a boiler house on top of it is just wrong.
Yeah. Okay, any others? No? Okay, let's move on then. to the progress report for the planning committee. I'll just read through them. If you've got any updates, let me know. We've got the report on the traffic schemes for Marlow Road.
That is at the point of costing now, so therefore that will shortly come to the council. So it is moving forward. It's very, very slow. And the reason is that in our area, we've only got 2 of 5 officers operating at the moment, so it's been difficult.
Traffic and pedestrian surveys. This is for various surveys around the town. Any news?
I think this is also delayed due to the lack of officers at ACC. We've got an outstanding query with ACC.
For the station car park, this is to do with Premier Inn. I don't know why this is being made. Yeah, I know, and I really don't know why why that is, because I do know what the planning officer had. Well, we thought that she'd made a decision, and I don't know why it's taken so long to put it in writing.
What did we think goes on?
You're afterwards.
I find it.
We'll find out more information. And the next one is training for councillors. This is on DES 8 and DES 10. Now, we received a paper from Jodie on DES 10. Was it DES 10? Yeah. Yeah. Have you all managed to read that? Does anyone need recirculating? No? Okay. Any news on DES 8?
It's just it is kind of
It's similar.
within that. So I wondered if there was any other actions from that or whether we could remove that now.
Yeah, okay. We can remove that. Something that I perhaps would like to add is the design code, you know, the local plans and design codes, just to make sure that they're keeping SODC on their toes with that, because I haven't seen anything new come back to us since it went to consultation.
The design guide.
Yeah, the design guide and the joint local plan with Vale of White Horse. Perhaps we should add those 2 in. Okay. Yeah. Okay, last one over the page is Article 4 direction. Any news from SODC on that one at all? Anything further?
Sometimes it will be as part of the local plan, so I don't think there's anything more that we can add at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
So we can remove that. That's the point, yeah.
Should we merge that one into the local plan one? Yeah, merge. Okay. Right, okay, that ends the meeting. Thank you very much for your contributions.